Blog Talk Radio.
From the people that brought you the roller coaster making game and who brought you the FEMA coloring books, it's the FEMA Camp Tycoon. That sounds cool! Here you will have over 800 concentration camps to choose from. Wow!
Of all the grounding studies, the one that really got our attention is called Electric Grounding Improves Vagal Tone in Preterm Infants. In the study, 26 premature babies in an NICU were connected to grounding wires. The heart rates of the grounded infants stabilized, and their vagal tone, a critical measure of infant health, increased by 67% with grounding.
The information is provided for general informational purposes only. The contents are not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Ground Therapy Incorporated makes no representations about the efficiency, appropriateness, or suitability of any specific tests, procedures, treatments, services, opinions, healthcare providers, or other information that may be contained in or available through the information provided.
Welcome to A Billion Realities. Here's your host, Jessica Gerlach.
Hi, everyone. Today on A Billion Realities, we are talking to cancer survivor Cathren, whose own reality was flipped upside down a year ago when she found out she had breast cancer. Over the course of the past year, she's had to deal with the emotional trauma that obviously comes with a cancer diagnosis, as well as having to break that heavy and heartbreaking news to her two young girls and pulling herself through multiple surgeries to remove her cancer and for reconstruction purposes. She's on today and is ready to tell us everything about her emotional journey and how she got through it. Hi, Cathren. You can introduce yourself.
Hello. I am Cathren. Most call me Cat. I am now 39. I was 38 when I was diagnosed. I live in Pennsylvania. I have two girls, a husband, and just live the normal life.
Amazing. So let's start off with your journey. I mean, I know that you've told me before you found this on your own. So I think that's a really great way to start out, just because, you know, your doctor didn't even really feel the lump that you found, correct? So let's hear about that. Let's hear about that.
So actually yesterday was marked the year that I found the lump. I am a child of many cancer patients in my family. Both my grandmothers had it. My mom also had cancer. We're not really sure where it started because it metastasized before we actually knew an origin of it.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we're just a little recap. I actually had BRCA 1 and 2 testing done. It's genetic testing to see if I carried the gene for breast cancer and uterine ovarian cancer. And that was back in, I was 34, so 5 years ago. And I tested negative to actually carry the gene for breast cancer. So I was negative. So I was like, wow, like that's awesome. You know, thinking I was I had my mind set that I was going to be positive, but I came back negative. I know nothing is 100%. I'm fully aware nothing is 100%, and I continue doing self-checks on myself, as well as when I went to the doctor every year, they would do it as well. Last year, St. Patrick's Day, I was in the shower, doing the normal routine, washing, and when I went over my right breast underneath, on the bottom side, my hand jumped, and I was like, well, that's weird. And so I kind of felt, and I was like, oh, interesting. So after I got out of the shower, I was like, I'm not going to freak out. So I went into my room and I looked at myself in the mirror, lifted my arm up because I know what to look for, signs of breast cancer, lifted my arm up over my head and noticed the dimpling where the lump was. And right then and there, I just knew. I called Chuck in, which Chuck is my husband, and yes. I asked him to feel it, see if he felt it as well, and to see if he saw what I was seeing. And, unfortunately he did see it and felt it. And from there, it was just a bunch of things being thrown at me. I needed answers. And when you go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just was curious. So how big was the lump? Was it oh my God, how have I not recognized this before? Or was it small enough that...
I can't remember off the top of my head the exact diameter of it, but it was pretty deep in. And I was a triple D. Some people may not realize what that actually is, whatever, but I was big,
right.
Especially,
so it's hard.
especially for my small frame. It was definitely, I was definitely big. And so when I felt it, I was washing. So obviously I pushed in, and that's how I felt it.
Wow.
And when you do self-exams, I tend to have gone a little deeper than normal just because I was so dense. And full that I wanted to make sure I could feel everything, and luckily I did.
Right. Thank God. So
yeah.
What was the first step you took after that? Did you just right away make an appointment and, get it checked out? What did you do?
I actually went right to the emergency room that day, not knowing that they wouldn't be able to do anything or diagnose me or say exactly what it was right there, but it was more for so I could see it. I wanted, the ultrasound or a mammogram or something so that I could see and know that I wasn't I wasn't thinking crazy. They did an ultrasound. They saw it. I saw it. And they at that time said, the doctor had said he thinks he said it looks like fat necrosis. And I think he was leaning more toward that because of my age. And he referred me to a general surgeon to have a look at it. And, that day I went on business as normal. I wasn't going to. I would have rather just laid in my bed and cried. But my one friend and I had plans to go out for St. Patrick's Day. We have a couple local breweries around here, and we were going to go to one of them. And she wouldn't let me. She wouldn't let me lay in bed. She was like, we're going. Let's do this. We're going to take this one day at a time. And I did. And I'm, that's one of the things. I mean, I wore my sunglasses inside the brewery, and when we went outside, because, off and on the tears flowed. But so anyway, so I, they referred me to a regular general surgeon, and after speaking to a few of my coworkers that had gone through it as well, and, just kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to go to a general surgeon. I want to go to a breast surgeon. I want, somebody that's their study. That's what they do is breast, and that's it. I want somebody that's just, general on the breast. And that's what I did. I went to a general surgeon.
Was there a reason for that? Did you hear of people who didn't use a breast surgeon and they had a bad experience, or was that just an instinctive call on your part?
It was more of an instinctive call for me, because I figured if I went to a general surgeon, it was almost like I felt like I was going to skip a step and get more answers quickly, because I felt like if I went to a general surgeon, they would, if it was something that needed to be looked at by a breast surgeon, then they would refer me to a breast surgeon. And then, and I just wanted to kind of cut some corners and just get right down to it. I wanted the answers, and I wanted to know what I was actually going to be facing.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, and I think some people probably are just overwhelmed or panicked at the beginning, and they might not make the best judgment calls. So I think it's amazing that you were able to do that even under the circumstances. So
yeah, I just needed the answers, just needed them.
Yep, I can totally understand that. So at what point did you decide to tell your daughters? I'm sure that was really hard news to break. And how did you do it, and when did you do it?
It's probably the most sensitive part of the entire journey that it brings me to tears, but I actually spoke with a friend before I came on here, and he was thinking I was going to, so I'm going to try to hold them back. But I waited until I got diagnosed, which was 2 weeks later. I got diagnosed on April Fool's Day, and my sister, my oldest sister, who everybody I'm talking about, you're going to know.
Yeah.
So my oldest sister, Tian, had the girls for me because we weren't sure how long we were going to be or what was going to happen. So we went, we had them stay with her, and I got the diagnosis, and I was on my way home, or on my way to her house. Excuse me. Chuck and I were talking about it in the car of when we think it would be a good time to tell them. And I said, I would rather them know from us and find out from us before they find out from anybody else. I want to be the one to answer their questions if they had questions about it. And I work at the school that they both go to. Well, my oldest doesn't anymore, but I work in the same elementary school that they attend. So my coworkers were obviously going to know. And I didn't want them to know. I didn't want them, like I said, I didn't want them to find out outside of me telling them. I needed to tell them they were my children, and it was my start, my journey that I had to go through, and one that they were going to have. It was going to impact them big time. So
yeah, I think that's a smart move. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that when I got to my sister's house, I thought that would be the best time to tell them, because then I had not only Chuck there with me, but I had my sister Tian, who has been, she's my number one best friend. She's my oldest sister. She's my only older sister out of a lot of siblings, and she was there for me nonstop. And I knew that if I needed somebody, it was going to be her, and it was going to be Chuck. And I needed extra people there for my kids too, because I didn't know how they were going to react.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as you were speaking about this, and that you made the choice to tell them yourself, I feel like it would be so much more traumatic if they found out from somebody else, because my instinct is that it would sound like, well, it must be really bad if my mom's not telling me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly.
So
yes. And
so how did they react?
Odd. It was very strange. My oldest, Peyton, she is 12 now. She didn't actually ask us, but she was catching on that I had a lot of appointments leading up to me telling her, and she said that she had a feeling something wasn't right. And my youngest really didn't have any emotion, but when I told them, I said, mommy has breast cancer, and I don't want you to worry about it because I'm going to come out on top. and I'm going to win. I will not allow it to win. I will not allow it to take me. And I think they held me to that. And, you know, we had a little bit of tears, some hugs. And, I mean, I think I cried more than they did, but I don't know if they actually understood exactly what it was until it all started.
I'm sure they didn't. Yeah, that's usually the case, right? And plus the shock of it, like, you know, at first when people are in shock, they don't always actually feel the depths of the emotion. So I can just imagine that, you know, it became more real over time. So how did it progress, not only for you, of course, but when they started seeing what you were going through? You know, were they...
They were some of the strongest girls. I mean, not just because I'm their mom, but I have to say that these two girls are two of the strongest young kids I know to date. They were handed a lot in a few. I was handed a lot, but when I think they were handed more. They had to see me go through everything. Their summer was taken away basically because I was in bed and in and out of surgeries, and it wasn't just my world that got flipped; it was theirs too. And but they did. I mean, they held on with it with so much dignity and strength. It's admirable. It really is.
That's amazing. That's
yeah.
You know,
did
they just want to help you all the time?
I mean, they never really gave me a hard time. Like, they would come in and check on me and ask me if I needed anything, ask if I was doing okay. They would, you know, let the dog out and, you know, attempt cooking. They were really good.
That's great to hear. You know, kids are so resilient, and sometimes we don't give them enough credit, but they can be so helpful, and they really are so resilient, even when it comes to emotional things, you know?
Yeah.
So how long after you were actually diagnosed, like you said, the 2 weeks later after you felt the lump, did you have the first surgery?
So I was diagnosed, I was diagnosed April 1st, and I had my surgery May 9th.
Okay. All right. And
so,
then what happened after that surgery?
So after that surgery, I was in recovery. I stayed home. Then I had my second surgery, a reconstruction surgery in July. And then I had my third surgery. I had the August 13th, which was a total hysterectomy, including my ovaries. And then I just had my last and hopefully final surgery on February 20th.
Wow. So you've really gone through a lot. That's a lot of surgeries in 1 year. You know, that's not easy. So how would you say you got through all of this emotionally? Because, physically we know obviously that was traumatic on your body. That's a lot of surgeries in a short amount of time. But how did you get through the emotional aspects of all of this? You know, hoping it doesn't come back. Like, you know, a lot of people have a surgery and then sometimes it comes back. You know, did you just what kind of self-talk was going on there?
Well, it started before my surgeries. I had, which I was very, very thankful for. I had choices, and that's to me was amazing in itself. I had the choices of 3 different kinds of surgeries, 3 different surgeries that I could choose from. And then when I went for all of my pre-surgical testing, like 2 weeks before my first surgery, I still didn't know what I really wanted to do. I had one surgery that was like the front runner, and then I had a second surgery that was my second option that I was kind of going with. After I had my MRI for the pre-surgical testing, they found another spot that was not too far from the tumor itself, and so that was 4 spots because I had my tumor. I had 2 sites of calcification clusters that had margins that showed precancerous signs, and then I had this other spot show up on my MRI that wasn't far from the tumor, and the doctor, my choices had gone down from 3 to 2, so I had 2 different choices, which was I think it's a unilateral mastectomy, which would have taken one breast off, and then the other breast would have been make it match, or I could have gone with the double mastectomy. And my choice was the double mastectomy without nipple sparing, because my cancer was invasive ductal carcinoma, which starts in the milk duct, and it spread into the tissue. It burst the milk duct and spread into the tissue surrounding it. So with me, I'm thinking milk ducts are connected to the nipple. I'm not going to do that. Like you said, people think, about it coming back and everything, and that was definitely one of the things that I thought about. I didn't want this to come back. I did not want it to come back, and I was willing to do anything it took for it not to come back. Like I said previously, right. I know nothing is 100%. I know it's not 100% that I won't get something back, but it's a lesser chance, and for me that's better than anything. So that's
right.
why I went the route that I did.
I mean, you're lucky that you did have options. Like you said, not everybody has them, and you
right.
did have a choice, and I feel like that probably is, I don't want to, it's helpful. It's still not a good, it's still a terrible situation, but it is helpful because
right.
it makes you feel like at least you have control over something in this situation,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. I had control over what I wanted to do with this circumstance, and I, when the doctor told me, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have cancer, I was like, I said, I'm not going to let it take me. I'm going to win this, and I'm going to be tougher than this disease, and well, here I am.
That's amazing. So now we're going to get to the other good stuff, the good part. What are the things that got you through, all the bad stuff, pretty much? All the trauma of this, the emotional, physical, all the trauma,
Yeah, definitely my family. Number one, Chuck. He was amazing. He took, the first, I want to say it was a week, he took off, and he wouldn't let me do anything, even if I wanted to. He was like, no, you're listening to your doctors, because I'm stubborn. I would be the first to admit I'm a very stubborn person.
Right.
And my girls were my main focus. They truly are. They were my main focus, because, every time I would get depressed and not wanting to do anything, I'm like, is this what I want my girls to see? I don't want them to see it, but I would let them see me cry. I would cry at any moment. If I was feeling down, I'd cry. I've cried probably everywhere, in every store I've ever been in. It didn't matter. That's the one thing I didn't do. I did not hold anything back. Whatever I was feeling, I let it out.
Well, I think that's a healthy way of dealing with it, because when we suppress our emotions, it can literally make us sick. And,
absolutely.
you weren't, so you're just releasing them. So I think that's the healthiest, thing to do.
Yes, I did fall into, which I did hide this from some people. I did fall into a dark spot, like a depression spot, in between my surgery in July and the one in August. I didn't have a summer. Growing up, and even to this day, we enjoy camping and going out on the boat, and I love water skiing, and I live for summer, kayaking, anything to do with water, I'm in it. And I didn't have it. I didn't have that outlet for myself, because we tried the boat and it hurt. So we stopped. So we would just keep testing it and seeing how it went. And eventually I was fine to go on it. But, yeah, I fell into a dark little hole, I guess you want to say. And I met a few people. There's an organization around where I live, and I met them through Facebook, and we talked a lot of like video chats and stuff. When most people were asleep, they were awake, and I was wide awake, and we would just talk. They'd let me cry if I needed to cry, or I was open with them. Wow. And I'll tell you, they really helped me, especially for some people that I really didn't know at that time. For them to let me feel like it was a safe spot and I could talk to them. And and we all have nobody's perfect, and everybody has things they're going through, and we just kind of talked about it, and then we would talk about other stuff that just made us all laugh, and it was just great. And then the one day my stepmom was like, we're going shopping, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really feel like it. She's like, no, it's really not a choice, you're going. And she got me out. Yeah, she got me out, and she's like, meet me here at this time. Bam, and I did, and it was the best thing ever. And that's what I say to anybody who's going through a dark spot. If somebody, a family member, a friend, if somebody says, let's go do this, just go do it. Like, I don't care if you're showered or if you feel like not showering, just go and do it. Right. Because it's guaranteed to help. It's guaranteed to get you out of the house and make you feel better.
I agree with that 1,000%.
So
it's funny too,
need
right?
Somebody to push you.
Well, yeah, and also sometimes you really don't feel like going, but you don't know that you're going to feel better once you get there, and you almost always do, because a change of energy and a change of environment and a little bit of sunshine, it really can shift your whole mood and even your perspective. You could meet new people, new opportunities, whatever, new energy. But when we're stuck at home, we can't even imagine, when we're not feeling well, to get up and get out of the house. But sometimes it takes somebody pulling you out, and then you're like, why am I not trying to do this more often?
Exactly.
It's very common. So I can just imagine in your situation. But what I also wanted to ask you is, I know that when, heavy things happen like this to people, it's really surprising sometimes the people that are in our lives, the way that they react. It's not everybody knows how to handle this type of news, or when somebody's going through something. And then there's other people who we would have never expected to be there for us, who are like right there all the time, trying to help us, trying to, so what was your experience like with, the people? You don't have to say any names, but, generalize.
Well, it definitely brings perspective in the phrase, you find out who your friends are. I had some who fell off my friend boat, per se, that people that I thought would be here through it all, and, people that I thought were some of my best friends, I barely heard from, and people that I barely knew or didn't think they would hang around were there, and it really took me by surprise. Some of the people that I thought that were going to be my 100% here and have my back and just, I don't know, like some people really shined through. And then others were just like, they just kind of slowly when I first was diagnosed, it was, all there. And then they just kind of slowly drifted away. And then like to this day, I don't hear from them. And if I do, I'm the one reaching out. And it's sad because I don't feel like I need to chase anybody. I was usually, I'm a helper. I help people. Like that's how I've always been. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I always try to help others. Like that's just what I do. And I was now in a reversed kind of situation
scenario.
where, and it was hard to accept the help, but then once I did accept the help, it was like the people that really wanted to help shined through, and the ones who were just like, they shined through as well, just in a different level.
Yeah, the opposite
surprisingly.
light, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but sometimes the universe has a way of weeding the people who are not authentic out of our lives. And unfortunately, it's when we're going through some of the worst times of our lives, obviously, in your case, the worst thing that's ever happened to you personally, directly.
Correct.
But, it only, in the end, it only really makes your future better because you see who's who. And then
I've definitely the people that I really don't talk to much anymore, I'm okay with it. Where before this happened, I would have been chasing them and being like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Da, da, da. And now I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm sorry, but it taught me to just think outside of the box and not always think like everybody's wonderful and everybody, like I always like to see everybody as like genuine people, kind people, and just always going to be there and everything. And it kind of opened my mind like, okay, not everybody is like you. Not everybody's going to see things like you do. And it kind of gave me a different perspective on, how different people are, because I always see the good in everybody. It doesn't matter what they did to me, how much they would hurt me or, anything. I would always find good.
And that's
now
a great
I'm just
call.
like, I'm not going to.
Yeah, you're at the point.
Yeah, I'm not going to search for that good. If you show me an ugly, I'm not going to try to search for that good, because I know where that ugly is leading to, and I have more important people in my life that I can put my energy toward.
And that's exactly what it is. It's like things like this show you who's who, and then you move forward without wasting time that you could be pouring into all of these people who reciprocate all the energy and love that you have provided and given and shared, and stop giving to the energy vampires, because honestly, people who are going to turn their back on you when things get rough or you're not providing them with, love and affection and attention anymore, instead of them just taking it and they disappear, it's a waste of time,
Right.
So, yeah.
And I understand, like people have lives. They have to live too. I'm not the main, I'm not the main focus in anybody's life. And I understand people have lives, but it was like, a quick message, Facebook text, call, I'm not doing anything. I'm home, anything like that. I mean, I could be sleeping, I was going through a rough time, and just a quick text to say, hey, I'm thinking of you today would make me smile. And, there just were some people that didn't do that. And like I said, I thought that they would.
It's sad when you think everybody has the same heart as you and you figure out that they don't. But at the same time, it just makes you...
It's a good learning experience.
It is.
It makes you stronger, for sure.
It makes you more selective as well. And it makes you focus on the people who deserve it, really. It's okay to be a giver. I'm a very I'm a very nurturing type. Like, I want to take care of people. I always want to help, but there comes a point in your life where you realize that if the person is never there when you're going through something, or is never asking you how you're doing, or just overall lack of concern about your well-being, and you're constantly concerned about them, and then on the flip side you have all these other people over here who are always concerned for you. It's like, well, I'm not going to keep, entertaining one-sided relationships. Yeah.
100% agree.
Right. And, another point, like you were saying, you wanted to exhibit certain traits or characteristics in front of the girls in the way that you dealt with this, and that's, again, like, even with my kids, I don't want to teach them to give their energy or their time to people who don't have their best interest at heart. So I need to do that too, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So true. So did you get into the spirituality, meditation? Like, what was your break time like? When you were like, I need self-care, or
no, you're
spiritual.
You're breaking up. I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. I was just
Sorry.
asking. That's okay. Yeah, it happens. Last time the sound was terrible, so I'm just glad that we're on a better page with that. But
yeah.
So so what was your self-care time like? I'm sure you've been doing a lot more self-love and self-care time, just for you. And was it meditation? Was it going to get your?
I honestly didn't really take a lot of time for myself. I really just sat and watched TV. I would I would be, friends would come over, and my family would, stop in and see me. I didn't really go out much because I was afraid like somebody was going to hit my chest, or with massages, you need a medical massage after this. And, I just wasn't, and with all of this being new, I didn't want anybody to see me. I'm still kind of adjusting to that. I still have a hard time looking in the mirror and seeing myself. It's taking a lot of time to get used to it, but eventually I know I will get there. It takes time. I didn't really take much self-time because I had my girls that I kept me busy, per se. Like, I would spend time with them. I would, try to do as much things with them as I could, or they would come and lay with me and watch TV with me. And, for that was most important to me, was just spending time with them while I was home.
Right.
Excuse me.
Okay, that's nice. I mean, I think that's, your self-care time was with your kids, and that's one of the most fulfilling. Cuddling with your kids is the best therapy, or your animals, right? So if you're an animal lover.
And, we did wind up getting, we got a Rottweiler like a month after my first major surgery, and I'm like, I don't know what we're thinking, but let me tell you something though. This dog she'll be a year old tomorrow. She is amazing, and she can read me like she just knows. She can read my mood.
Incredible.
Yeah, like, I mean, just for an example, like last night or early this morning, I was tossing and turning, and Chuck had already left to go to work, and she was at the bottom of the bed because she sleeps on the bed even though she's 100 pounds. And I was tossing and turning, and she moved up to where Chuck was and just kind of like snuggled next to me. And so I was like petting her, and I instantly fell asleep. Like, she knew, like, let me go snuggle my mom. She's having a hard time falling asleep.
Wow.
And sure enough, it's almost like holding a baby. You hold a baby and you fall asleep.
Yeah.
But she gives me, that's what she gives me. She's very calming to me. Even though
dogs
she's a puppy.
Are such emotional. Yeah, but dogs are such emotional creatures. I feel like my dog can literally feel my feelings, Even the tone of my voice, my dog will react to, Like, it's just amazing to me.
Yeah, you're cutting out again too, Jeff.
Okay, I don't know why I'm doing that. How's that?
That sounds better.
Good? Okay. Yeah, I'm in Serbia, so to my audience, I am in Serbia. I'm quarantined in Serbia, as well as under martial law at the moment. So
oh my,
11:40 p.m. here, and we're not allowed out of the house after 8 p.m. So
Gotcha.
It's an interesting dynamic at the moment, but yeah. So hopefully my connection is strong enough for the moment to get through it. But, I love hearing how strong and determined you were from the very beginning. Do you think that has made a difference in the outcome and you being cancer-free now?
You were cutting out, but I think you said something about how strong I was from the beginning.
Yes, I was asking you. Yes. Like, do you think that your mindset and your attitude towards this, like, I'm going to beat this? I mean, I think you told me you had a motto, so I'd love to hear that again. About cancer's not going to beat you, you're going to beat it, but I have the wrong words, but you go ahead and say it.
No,
because we need to hear that.
Yeah, that's basically what it is I had my mind set, and I was not going to allow cancer to take me. I was going to beat cancer. Cancer wasn't going to beat me. I believe that my mindset definitely got me through it all. And because a lot of things, I feel if you have your mind set on something and you follow through with that, you'll overcome it. I stayed positive, and so many people have said that to me. They were like, I can't, your positivity through it all was so inspiring. And, I always had, my smile that everybody knows about, because everybody always talks about how I'm smiling all the time, but it never left my face. Regardless of what news I got. Sure, I shed the tears, but I also smiled a lot. I knew I wasn't going to let it take me, regardless of what I had to do to make that come to my reality. I knew that I was going to come out on top, and I did. They say, what do they say? A strong girl looks a challenge in the eye and gives it a wink. That's kind of how I went through it all. I was like, hey, cancer, wink, wink, I got you.
I think that's amazing, because for me, the power of the mind as an NLP practitioner, and I'm certified in hypnosis. These are all things that I feel could with people. Like, for example, you were lucky because you had that mindset and you were able to maintain it. But for the people who really struggle with depression as it is, even before they're with anything, or, if they struggle with anxiety, these type of situations can make their minds spin out of control. So I feel like, you can't control your mind. Hypnosis or NLP is a really effective way to really dig into the subconscious, the things that you want to change. You know what I mean? So I think it's just very impressive. You were able to stick with that through all the ups and downs throughout the year, because it's not easy, and injuries and just
it definitely wasn't easy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an easy journey, but I'm happy to be coming out on the end side of it as a cancer survivor, and I know I've inspired, as I'm told. I'm not saying this just because I can, but people have told me, how much of an inspiration it was to watch me go through it, and to know my story or read my story. I think because I am young. I don't know. I know you're familiar with United States insurance and all that, but women, most insurance companies, unless you're considered high risk, you can't. If you want a mammogram before you're 40, you have to pay out of pocket for it. Insurance companies don't cover it until you're 40. And my doctor said, she was like, I'm surprised. She's like, if you wouldn't have told me where your lump was, I would have never felt it. She's like, and she told me straight out, and she told me straight out, she's like, you just saved your own life. She said because by the time you would have been able to get a mammogram, you could have been a stage 3, 4, and it could have metastasized by then.
Excellent. So that brings me to a perfect next question. What is your message to women under 40? Like, how do they check for it? What's the best way to do it?
I'm going to say know yourself. Touch them. They're yours.
Yeah, that's good advice.
They're part of your body.
Right.
They're yours. You own them. Touch them, play with them, know them. The more you know them,
right.
the more you know them, the more likely you're going to feel something that wasn't there a month ago.
Absolutely.
Yep. And, all your doctors, when you go for your yearly exams, your doctors check them. But it's your job to, as, the owner of them, to check them every month. They say, do it around your cycle or, put up something that will make you remember to do it, which is why I chose, and most women choose, after your cycle or right before your cycle, because that's when, your breasts do tend to show more. And it gives you a reminder, like that's something that comes every single month. And that's something that, when you do it in the shower, when you're in the shower, that's when I did it. Only I didn't just do it once a month. Like I was constantly making sure because, I didn't know. You never know. And it was always in the back of my mind because I had
and you had it in your family.
Ran in my family.
Yeah, yep. Right. Yep, makes sense.
I lost one of my cousins at an early age. I lost my mom. My mom was 46. She lost her battle to cancer. Wow. And I mean, even both my grandmothers, my one grandmother was, I believe, in her later 60s. I might be wrong. And then my other grandmother was in her early 70s. Like, to me, that's young. I was in my 20s having my babies, and I lost both my grandmothers and my mom before them, or, in between them. So all from cancer. And it's like, no, that's not okay. And, that's why I was so proactive with it. Like, I just felt them all the time. And I'm glad I did.
That would make me paranoid and not that it's paranoid, but I'd be checking too, because
I was overzealous in touching my breasts, for all the reasons.
You're making my show really, really interesting.
It is okay.
The men are like, yeah.
I mean, that too. Have your man do it for you too. Let him know. I mean, you never know. If they're
well, he knows what they feel like, right? So
exactly. And I mean, a lot of I've heard that too, where a husband has felt it, and they were like, "Hey, what's this?" And I mean,
I've heard that too.
Yeah. Yep. So
happens.
I mean, whether it's your man doing it or you doing it, like there's YouTube videos out there that are great to show you to show you how to check. To do a self-check. There's YouTube videos out there, like Sloan Kettering has one. breastcancer.org and Susan G. Komen, like they all have videos that show you exactly how to do it. That's great. Plenty of resources out there that actually shows you, they show you how, the circle motion, how to work into the breast. So definitely checking underneath your armpits, because that's where your lymph nodes are, and
yes.
So they check
I've
that.
Heard this.
Yeah. So discharge coming out of the nipple. I didn't have that, but that's a sign. That's why they they do all of that. There's reasons behind everything that they do when they go and touch your breast when you go to the doctor.
Right. Yeah, it's good to know, and I'm glad that you're saying it, because a lot of people surprisingly don't know these details. I didn't even know everything that you're talking about now. I mean, I'm used to checking, and my mom always said your body the best, and she was very educational with me about that stuff. And she's also a nurse, and she was an oncologist.
I was going to say your mom's a nurse. So.
Yeah, exactly. And she was in oncology for like 15 years. So I had her pretty well on my back for a long time about
and even
precautionary measures and all this.
Right, and even checking, checking while you're standing up versus checking while you're laying down and with your arm up and then with your arm down, because it gives it moves the tissue. So, it's not just in one position and you're done. Like, check it while you're in the shower standing up. You check yourself like while you're laying down. Like if you're bored one night watching TV, just be like, okay, let me give my boob a little touch to see, what's going on in there. It's just, really, honestly, like that's what I did. I was constantly
that's exactly
checking them. You just never know. You never know. And
with all that with all that, with all that history in your family, like you have to, because that's the biggest indicator, is if you've had close, especially numerous, who've had it.
Yeah.
So it's just really amazing that you found this on your own, and you even when you went to the doctor, she didn't feel it actually, and you were like, no, it's right here. She was like, oh my God, yes it is. So,
and then when I showed her, and even when I told her about the dimpling, she was like, wow. She's like, I'm really impressed with you. I was like, thanks.
Well, let this be an even greater message for women, especially because you know your body the best. You can just get a feeling when you find something is off, you feel something off, and you absolutely cannot just take one doctor's opinion and walk away if they say, no, you're good. Well, no, because if you don't feel like you're good and your intuition is telling you something is not good, definitely get a second or third opinion. Never, ever question your own intuition and just your own gut feeling and knowing.
Right. I say that with myself, and they say that, with a mother's intuition. I fully agree. If I don't agree with something, I'm going to go have somebody else look at it, because I fully agree with trusting your intuition. Most definitely.
Me too.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's correct.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that some people are a little more in tune with their bodies than others. I feel that I'm a person who is very in tune with my body, but I don't know that I always was. Like, I think that came with age and experience, but I know when something doesn't feel right, or, I can even feel when I'm getting sick. Like, even before I'm sick, I know that I'm coming down with something, which I shouldn't even be talking about right now. I'm not sick, anybody.
Right.
I don't have the coronavirus, okay? I'm just saying, in general, when I do feel I'm coming down with something, like, I almost always know, like, I'm getting sick. I could feel it coming on in my body, and then I'll just, load up on a bunch of vitamins and some elderberry syrup and some vitamin C. But, when it comes to cancer or anything more serious, you really need to trust your own judgment and your own guidance, for sure.
Yeah.
But you were lucky
absolutely.
because you were lucky because even though you had to be persistent with her, she did eventually see it, and she wasn't like, no, you're fine. Because I'm sorry to say it, but doctors will often brush people off and be like, you're fine, don't stress.
Yeah. No, they were good. It might have been because I used to work there, but I'm not sure. But she just said, I don't feel it, and I felt, I pushed in and I took her hand and I was like, it's right here, and she felt it, and that's when she was like, wow, like I would have, and that's when she praised me. Like, she never doubted me. She just was saying, like, she didn't feel it, and that she was glad that I was so on top of things, because she said, if she would have just done a normal test, like she would have, like a breast check, she said she probably would never have felt that, and would have just, like on a normal day, she would have she would have just been like, you're good, but yeah, she never doubted it.
Yeah, I think most of them, they don't do it on purpose, even when they miss a diagnosis or or they don't recognize something for being a problem, even though
right.
It just baffles me sometimes when on those occasions when a doctor will deny a patient no, something is wrong, and the doctor will just be like, well, no, because all the tests came back positive, and it's just like, no, you got to listen to people because they know
right.
themselves and their bodies the best. It's the
yeah.
same with our children. Like with kids, it's like when it's not right with your child.
Oh yeah.
To like vaccine injuries or illnesses related to different things. I mean, I don't want to just talk about things. I'm just using that as an example. But when a parent is like, no, I know something is wrong and it's related to this and this or that, and doctors will often say, well, no, that's all normal, and the mother's like, no, it's not normal, and I know my child, because we get to know our babies as well as we get to know our own bodies. You know how that goes. It's totally instinctive. It's like intuitive, instinctive, So.
Yes.
Well,
yes, I definitely agree.
Yeah. So what would you say kind of keeps you moving forward in the way you are? Do you feel like, okay, I beat this, it's done, it's gone, I'm good, and now I get to just move attitude like, no?
At this particular point now, I'm actually able to see the Facebook memories popping up. I was always an open book, always, since I found the lump and through. So now all my memories are starting to come through because, like I said, yesterday was a year that I found the lump. So I'm looking at those and actually now seeing how far I've come from a year ago, and just watching it kind of unfold, and I'm like, wow, like I can't believe, I'm kind of like, wow, I can't believe that this all was only just a year ago. Like it seems like it was yesterday. I'm still in a phase of, it's not denial, but like still a phase of acceptance. Excuse me, allergies. I'm still in a phase of acceptance.
Right.
Like I said, I didn't do nipple sparing, so it is just 2 lumps of just plain skin with scars. My scars are beautiful, and I say it like a question because I'm still accepting them. They say scars are beautiful, and they all have a story to tell. But I'm still learning. I'm still learning to look at them as beautiful and not as, wow, I have 2 really ugly scars across my chest and basically up to, close to where my armpits are, and then I have obviously another scar right underneath my armpit because that's where my lymph nodes were taken out. But and then also like scars next to my breasts and just underneath my armpits from where all the drains were. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still accepting myself as is. I am planning on they do amazing 3D nipple tattoos for women who have gone through breast cancer. I do plan on doing that. And I think, and my plastic surgeon thinks that once I'm able to get those, which should be not too long from now, once this last surgery heals, I should be able to get them. And he said that once I put them on, that will be a target to look, and I won't really look at the scars anymore, but it'll actually look, like normal again.
That's
new normal,
incredible.
I should say. Yeah.
Right.
So
your new
I'm
normal.
excited to get those. I hope I don't go over the top and showing people like, hey, look at these, look at my tattoos, like look how great they look. Like,
That's hilarious.
Because that's the kind of person I am.
Look at
But yeah, like I mean, anybody, and as many people that have asked me to, and to be honest, I don't mind if it's a friend that's a guy or a friend that's a girl. A lot of people have asked to see them, and I'm like, absolutely, like here they are. Like this is what a breast cancer survivor's chest looks like when they have a double mastectomy with reconstruction. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm almost proud of it.
I think that's great.
Like I'm proud of it. I'm proud to show them off and be like, and here I am able to show them off because of the steps that I took. Did I have to go as drastic and aggressive as I did? Probably not. But it was the decision that I had to make. That's what I was thinking to myself, because I was like, I'm at that time I was 38. I have 2 young kids. I have a young family. I'm one of 9 siblings. I have so many friends who I love and cherish with everything, everybody in my life that I'm here for. Right. And that's why I took the most aggressive approach that I could take, because I'm young, I'll heal, and I can move forward. And I'm on that path to moving forward. And yes, I'll always have to select, have you ever had cancer? My no now turns to yes, and I have to say, I had it, but it doesn't define me, and I will never let it define me. I'm still Kat. I'm still me, just with a smaller chest.
And are you happy about that? Does it feel good?
I am. In light of everything, I'm extremely happy that I am smaller now. It actually has helped a lot of other issues that I was having with my body, like back pain and migraines. I had indents in my shoulders, and now it's not,
lighter version of them.
It's a weight lifted off of my shoulders in more ways.
Literally. It's a lighter version of the girls.
Because I can barely feel them. They're very light. And
that's great.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it literally and figuratively speaking, it is a weight lifted off of my shoulders. I'm definitely in a better shape than I was before that, because I can just do a lot more. But I'm on the up and up, and my last surgery was just shy of a month ago, and I was back to work. Now we're shut down, but I was back to work. And I'm, back to what I can do, because we, in the state of Pennsylvania, we are supposed to be social distancing and all that as well. And now my children are doing remote schooling, which is another job on its own.
Yeah, mine too.
But yeah, I work with children daily, just not my own, and it's a completely different ballgame.
Of course it is. Of course it's very different. Okay, so since you said there's nothing that's off the table, like I have to ask, so what was it like getting used to the lack of sensation? Obviously, like losing.
Okay. So I have no sensation whatsoever.
Right.
Because all my breast tissue was removed, I cannot feel my chest. If I'm not looking and someone puts their finger on my chest, I won't be able to feel it. I won't know that they're even doing it. And so it hasn't really, I'm more cautious with it, because I don't if I get hit or anything like that, if I don't see it happening, I won't know. So I'm a little more cautious on that aspect. But to me, it really didn't make that much of, it really wasn't that much of a big deal to me. It always stems back to, I'm here. I'd rather be here than having that sensation or feeling in my breast. It's more important to me than, a little nipple stimulation or whatever. Like I would just rather be here. And the weird thing, there is a weird thing, and it is phantom sensations. It's just like if anybody were to lose a limb or, you know, I know I've heard people who've had an appendix surgery where they will still feel the pain during appendicitis or, you know, like, but it's not there, but they still will feel it every once in a while. I have
psychological. I have phantom sensations when I'm cold. So
I will
that's
feel,
the reason I asked. Yeah. I'm listening. Sorry.
I will feel, my nipples get hard. And I'm like, how? Like,
they're not there.
Nothing there. And the first time it happened was like 6 weeks after my first surgery, and I was laying in the bed, and it was a cool summer night, and we had the windows open, and I was laying in bed, and it happened, and I like quick looked down, you know, like I was like, what is going on? Like, this is weird. And like, I didn't cover up right away because I wanted to like just feel it, and I was like, this is really strange. And then I put like a blanket over me, and it went away. So and I still have it, not as frequently as I did when it first started happening, but I do still have it. If I get like, I have to actually get super cold in order for it to actually feel like they're hard.
Yeah, I bet, because you're so used to feeling that, and it triggers a part of your brain, right? So this is, I think it's the amygdala, actually. It's a gland in the brain that it's, you know, the neurotransmitters hit that part. So when you get cold, you're so used to feeling that all those years, your whole life or whatever, you know, your whole adult life. And so your brain thinks you're experiencing it again. And the reason why I find this really interesting, and the reason I asked you about that, is it came to my mind because I did see a documentary one time on people who actually, it's like some type of disassociative disease where they psychologically feel like one of their limbs does not belong to them. But alternatively, people who have lost a limb, they feel like it's still there, like almost like what you're describing. I mean, it's the same idea. So how do you deal with that? Is it just something that comes and goes, and you just, you know, don't really think about it after, or is it like super freaky at first?
Well, when it first happened, it freaked me out because I was like, what is going on? This is weird. And I mean, I basically do what any woman would do to stop it from happening. I grab a blanket, I put a sweatshirt on. I still treat it like I would if they were there. Just because if I don't, it doesn't go away. It's not like it happens and then it just goes away.
Wow.
Like when I get cold, it's there until I warm myself up. So I'm pretty quick with that. But I also have on the other aspect, I have hot flashes as well. So it's like I'm a whole hot mess. Like I can go freezing to sweating like profusely, and then, you know, back to freezing again. So, you know, it's like on with the sweatshirt, off with the sweatshirt, on with the sweatshirt, off with the sweatshirt. But I tend to run hotter, luckily anyway. So it's very rare that it happens. It was rare that it happened prior, because I am always usually hot. I mean, my friends and I joke about it because, like, when we're on calls, I actually turned it off for this call. I have a fan that blows on me all night long, and we call it my hot flash fan. And my phone picks it up. If I don't talk, it picks it up, and apparently it's loud in my speaker. So I made sure I turned it off so that it wouldn't interrupt this. So yeah, my hot flash fan. That's for my friends. That's a little shout out for my friends on the Riff Raff. I know some of them are listening, so, you know, I'm not going to call them out by name, but I'll just say my friends on the Riff Raff. I made sure I turned it off.
That's good. So,
but yeah.
What?
Go ahead.
I know. I was just going to ask. So, what do you think your girls took away from this entire process, knowing where you're at now and the way that you approached it? You know, I
can say that I can't say, I don't know what they actually took away from it, but I'm going to hope that they took away that I hope that I am somebody that they can look up to, be inspired by, and when faced with a challenge that has an unknown outcome, that anything is possible, and
Amazing.
to just keep your mind positive, and that they can do anything that they put their mind to be honest. I hope that that's what they can take out of this. They're young, so they're not really into it, but that I'm going to be on their behinds when it comes time for them to, make sure that they check and stuff, and I'm going to make sure that they get tested genetically, because now that they are candidates for being high risk because their mom had it. So they'll be able to get mammograms earlier and be able to get the genetic testing done at little to no cost, because they are considered high risk. So, I'm going to, they are young, but that doesn't mean that, because cancer doesn't have an age restriction. So I can attest to that. I'm young for, the quote unquote breast cancer. I fall into that young category, but I know there's young girls younger than me who have been diagnosed with it. So,
absolutely.
I will, just let them know, this is what you have to do. Show them exactly what they have to do, what they have to look for. And I know that, like, my girls and I are super close, and I know that if they were to find something not normal, they would definitely come to me and be like, hey, Mommy, like, what is this? Or, can you look at this for me, or something like that, which is great, because I love that we have that.
Yes.
They'll let me know when something's wrong.
Absolutely. I think that's so important, because if they're ashamed or embarrassed to tell their mother, that's right. I just feel most important that they're going to come to you, if anything. But, hopefully never.
Right.
You're almost, you're in your late young, but not as, we're an adult.
You're breaking up a lot again, Jeff.
Hopefully they won't have to experience any. How's this?
That sounds good.
Is that better?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Okay. My connection is just, I don't know why it's doing that, but hopefully I'll get all that figured out.
Well, wherever you are
now,
stay right there.
Okay. Okay. So I can stay here. I have it's like a, professional microphone, but I had it resting on something so I could just talk into it. But it seems like when I'm holding it up, it's better. So that's maybe how to do it from now on. But anyway, to my audience, this is only my second show, so thanks for being patient with me.
Absolutely.
It's a learning curve. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Plus,
got to start somewhere.
Terrible. Yeah. I'm not the greatest with technical anything, so for me, being able to set all this up on my own was like a whole challenge in itself. I could talk about anything. I could talk all day. You know what I mean? I could talk all day long to anybody about anything, but try to get me to do some technical stuff, and I'm like full on panic. We all have our forte, right? What did Albert Einstein say? If you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, he'll live his whole life thinking he's stupid.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. That's me with technical stuff. But yeah, no, I'm so happy that you've been on the show today and that you got to share your story. And why don't you tell the audience the name of your journal, the Cancer Journal, if you want people to follow it.
Yeah, it's just simply it's simply called the Cancer Journal.
Oh, right. Okay.
I really didn't have any like quirky, cute little names for it, because it's basically just it's my cancer journal. I have slowed down on the post as of right now, because I am busy with my with all the schooling and stuff like that, and then I had my surgery, and then now this is going on, so I haven't been posting in it as much as I was. Like, I was posting every single day. I'm pretty sure I'm up to where I told my children, or the choices. I think the 3 different surgeries that I had to choose from. I think I'm at that point right now, but I do plan on, continuing with it within these next few weeks that I'm off of school. As my girls are doing their work, I'll work on that because it's quite easy because it's just coming right from me and onto, a doc that I have set up for it. And it definitely goes into a lot more detail, everything, that the doctors said and why I had to have the hysterectomy and, stuff like that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think
the hysterectomy was a surprise to me.
Yeah. Wow. I can't believe how much you went through in just 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year and all of that happened, It's like such a life-changing, life-altering experience out of the year. And it just shows you how much you can do or accomplish or come through in such a amount of time. People can be really stuck on one chapter of their lives, and it's like, no, think about how much happens in 1 year,
Right. I overcame a lot.
Yeah, you were literally diagnosed, had surgery and reconstruction, and pretty much gained your life and your vitality back all in 1 year. So it's an amazing story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are you continuing to do to stay positive, keep your vibration up? What are the things that you enjoy that keep you just happy and positive?
I love being around people, that's why this is kind of hard at the moment, because now I'm literally stuck in my house once again. And I just enjoy, I enjoy being outside and being surrounded by people. It could be because I grew up in such a large family that I always had somebody around.
Right.
And I love doing different things. I'm adventurous. I love trying new things. And as of right now, it's at a halt because we can't really do much right now. Nothing's really open. Even our local parks are shut down. And I love to read. Reading is my escape, for sure. Because it puts you into it's almost like it puts you into a different world and somebody else's world, and you can escape whatever it is that you're going through. You can just, and I don't even know why I forgot to say that. I read a lot of books on breast cancer and cancer books and survivor books, books that other breast cancer patients went through, their stories. That was pretty amazing because everybody's story is different. Everybody's story is different.
Yeah.
There's not one that is exactly the same. It's always a different story.
Amazing.
And and to read everybody else's story and how they did what they did and how they chose how they did or what they did and went through it. And I didn't need chemo or radiation because of the choices that I made. And that was one of the reasons, why I went the route I did, because then it cut my chances of needing radiation or chemotherapy down. And then once my tumor score came back, it showed that I was in the middle, and my board of doctors, luckily I live real close to Philly, and luckily I have some of the best doctors that, anybody could ask for, and they all kind of conjugated and were thinking about it, and were, they put out all these perspectives, and then they came back to me with an answer of whether or not I would need chemo, because they were thinking maybe 6 rounds of chemo, and I was like, no. And, overall everybody said, she probably won't, it probably wouldn't make a difference whether she had it or not, so, let's choose not to have her go through it, which was so uplifting. I made made me realize that my choice that I made was even that much more of the better choice for me. But now I love, like you said, I love talking. I've always been, from when I was little to today, like I'm a people person. I love being around people, and just good company. And, you know, like, I'd say watching TV, but it usually puts me to sleep.
You need the social stimulation, the interaction.
Yeah, I love being. I'm a very social person. That's what keeps me going. And my friends are awesome. My family is amazing. I'm surrounded by the best of the best. And I'll tell you, if I didn't have them, I don't know where I would be today. They always stood behind me 110%, and they still to this day stand behind me 110%. And, you know, and I just keep moving forward. You know, it's my past, but like I said before, I'm not going to let it define me, and I'm just going to go back to me, you know, like back to the person that everybody knew before it, and I'm going to be that person now. It was a hiccup in my life, and it's time to keep moving forward.
No, you have such a great attitude with it, and I think that, you know, it just brings up so many topics in my mind, especially doing this show. And, you know, and the reason is this, a lot of people struggle with mental health issues, and I really feel for anybody who has to go through this, but it can definitely trigger depression, anxiety. But imagine the people who already struggle with that, and then they have to go through this. And it makes me wonder if that's why some people don't stand a chance. Because
I actually do have anxiety, and I was diagnosed with it. I had it when I was younger. When we were growing up, it wasn't really a thing to be diagnosed with. As much as it is today. After my second daughter was born, I went to the doctor, and I was, you know, I told them, you know, I'm having, you know, I lay down at night and I can't seem to, you know, my mind races, and it takes me 2-3 hours to fall asleep. You know, I've always been this way, but, you know, so-and-so told me, you know, maybe you should talk to a doctor. And he's like, well, that is a form of anxiety. And I had really, really bad OCD. So I am on medicine for anxiety. So I do have anxiety, and I went through it. You know, I went through cancer with anxiety, but it definitely spiked it. I'm not going to say, I would never say that it never spiked my anxiety. It spiked it a lot. Okay. But like I said, it was, you know, everybody's different. And with me, it was like, I'll just take it one day at a time and just push through it. And that's what I did.
I mean, it's amazing that you were able to kind of tackle your mind, even going through the anxiety. And I can just imagine, like, my anxiety, how bad it would be if I was facing something like you did, you know. So I can just imagine having been diagnosed with it, like you said, you know. But I just give you so much credit, and your strength and your attitude and your own knowing that the power of mind is going to get you through. I feel like that's exactly what it was. It was like you never let it consume your mind.
Absolutely, because that's, I mean, I personally feel that whatever you have your mind set, however you have your mind set, that's what's going to get you through anything.
I agree.
Yeah, like worrying is like a rocking chair, or whatever that saying is. What is that saying? Something about.
I'm not sure if I know that one.
I've
been in Serbia too long.
I always say it too, and now I always say it too, and now I can't think of the saying. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
That's okay.
But something. There's a saying, and now I'm drawing a blank, obviously. But yeah, it's
that's okay.
It's not. It's, you know, I couldn't worry myself sick, and I took what is it, the bull by the horns, and I just charged away, and here I am.
Amazing. I'm so proud of you, and I obviously can't imagine what you've gone through. Nobody can unless they've gone through. That's why I really wanted you to be on the show, because you did go through it, and you can inspire the people who are going through it or might go through it in the future. So thank you so much for being on and sharing so openly without any type of holding back. I'm sure the audience enjoyed some. I actually had people messaging me. Of course, the male audience who are messaging me saying, "Well, this is interesting."
No. Well, hey, it is what it is. I mean, it's life, and it's a part of it. It's a part of life. But thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And hey,
You're
if
welcome.
you ever want a part 2, I'm open.
Yes. Of course I will. And, it'll be great to check back in with you in a few months or whatever it's going to be, just to see where you're at, how you're doing. And I love to, bring people back around, whether, for this. Yeah. So I'm happy that we had you on. I hope the audience was able to take.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that if there is somebody out there who's listening and wants to ask me questions or ask Jeff questions to ask me, I'm happy to answer anything. I'm here to help anybody. And that's most of the reason why I would love, I love getting my story out there, because I want people to know you're not alone. You're never alone, and there's always going to be, even if you have one person with you, it would mean the world to anybody. So, and if I can be that person for somebody, it would fill my heart tremendously. And I just want whoever it is that's listening, just know you're not alone, and there's always somebody going to be there. And if you need someone, I'm here.
Oh, that's really neat. And you know what? I think that's going to mean a lot to somebody who's going through this. And not everybody does have a family close by,
right,
or, close friends, or, to help them through this. So I think that's so important. The support group really means everything when you're going through stuff. Because
absolutely.
I know at one point in my life I was going through something, and I have an amazing support group now, but I don't even realize I needed a support group at the time. But now that I have one, and it helped me with so much of my, growth, my spiritual growth, all of it. It's just I see now how impactful and important strong support group actually is. So, thanks for, sharing that, offering that to the audience. And like Catherine said, for her, feel free if you want to reach to her directly, but she's the one with the good advice when it comes to this topic, because you pulled through.
Yes, I did.
Good for you. Well, thanks for being on the show, and talk soon.
All right. Thank you for having me, Jess.
All righty. You're welcome. Thank you. Talk soon.
Absolutely. Take care, hon.
You too.
Hey everyone, come check out the Proof Negative radio show here on freedomizerradio.com, Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the Pacific Coast, as we fight the New World Order and rock the health freedom world together. Please check out the Barefoot is Legal radio show right here on Saturdays, 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 10:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Time, as we show you all about your barefoot rights and living a barefoot lifestyle. And for more information about the 501c3 nonprofit